Hello everyone and welcome back. So if you've been a long time subscriber to our channel, then this video may actually seem familiar. This is actually the very first video I ever made after purchasing the lathe. So this was initially titled First Lathe Project, I believe. The video that I had uploaded included a lot of additional information, cards and notes that later on turned out, quite frankly, to be wrong. So there was just so much information in there that as I learned more and more about woodworking was incorrect information. I decided to go ahead and pull that video down. But just because it was interesting to see some random guy purchase a lathe and just try to figure it out on his own, I figured I would actually upload another version of that video that includes, or that removes a lot of that incorrect information. So basically this is going to be just a video showing the very first time that we unboxed the lathe, got her together, and attempted to turn an old random wood log out in the woods into something. We wound up making a wooden mallet, not a pretty thing, but in the end it looked like a mallet, and I still have it to this day. So stay tuned and we'll show you what that looks like. What we have here is what's left of an oak tree that was behind the house that we cut down. So definitely hasn't been seasoned correctly, definitely is just a hunk of wood. So we're going to see if we can actually turn it into something, or if I'm just going to be basically making sawdust and hopefully not winding up in an emergency room visit today. So let's get this thing trimmed up, then we will cut off a section that should be long enough to put onto the lathe and see what happens. Again, this is just a useless piece of wood for me right now, so I won't lose any money by making this the first piece. So what we may even do is just try to get a section of this and just see if we can turn it into something halfway straight. Okay, this is a fairly straight piece. We may go ahead and just throw this in there, turn her up, and see how the blade tools work. Okay, welcome to the redneck bench setup. When we picked up the lathe, I did not pick up the bench. We're still debating exactly whether I want to make it a freestanding or actually mounted to a bench surface. It is technically a bench lathe. So we're still sort of waiting to see which direction we want to go with that. For now, I've just sort of set it up here just to play with things and get a feel for it. So this should work out good enough for what we're trying to do today. Well, for my first piece ever, it's starting to become round. Definitely not really clamped in well. It keeps binding and slipping. And there's a lot of procedures I've seen that I should be following that, and I'll fully admit that I haven't followed here. So I may actually even square this up to get a nice flat end. I should have actually pre-drilled it a little bit. But again, today is a first time learning experience, so. It's a mostly round spot. Okay, we'll call that a success. Although I'm pretty sure everyone who is a professional was just screaming in agony watching me do that. Okay, so after a little finishing, what we wound up with is we took a old oak log that had no value and we created a probably equally useless wood mallet. Again, it was just to practice with the tools. I wasn't expecting much out of this, but I was able to turn it down to this. It was definitely too green to be turning, I think. Instead of getting chips, we had a lot of spiral pieces of just wood just flinging off of it like hair almost. So I'm pretty sure that was because it was so wet. I think that's what the reason for that was. Because I didn't have enough length to really clamp it and then chop it off the way most people do. You've got teeth mark around the end of it where the clamp was clamped into it. But again, this was just a test to see how I could do. It has started to split a little bit. Again, green wood, not surprised that it's splitting a little bit. But it is technically, it fits in your hand. It has a wooden head. It may serve a purpose. If nothing else, I do plan on keeping this so I can always look back and say, okay, no matter how bad anything I turn turns out, there was always this thing that looks like this. So if nothing else, it will serve as a reminder of where I came from. We took a piece of the cedar tree and just turned it into a cylinder. So it's actually a very, very beautiful wood cylinder. It did start to split a little bit as well, but again, this was just sort of a practice test just to see how things would go. And my skills are getting a little bit better. I didn't lose a finger. I created a lot of sawdust, and I'd say we have a good basis of starting, and we'll sort of see where we go. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm definitely having fun, definitely enjoying it, which is really all that counts.